Hi, welcome to this Monday's vlog. I am so excited today to have Shannon Gronich joining us. And Shannon is an expert on a lot of things surrounding the books, events, press releases, power bio, and there's her cute little son, Gabriel. Hey, Gabriel, just wave. He's going to be joining us too. And by the way, I just want to plug him for a minute. This adorable little entrepreneur actually was brave enough to snap in front of a room full of about 100 adults, and he raised $178. Is that how much so far? $178 to help feed children in Florida. So good job, bud. Okay, now back to Shannon. So Shannon does a lot with helping people with creating their power bios, press releases, a lot of things that really help book people a lot. And she's going to share her expertise with us twice this month, today about the power bio, and on the next one will be about events. And she has such a power bio today that I'm actually going to let her share her own bio instead of introducing her. So take it away, Shannon.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm so excited about this topic because it is something that absolutely has transformed my life and hundreds of others, which is the Power Bio. I started out, I've produced over 400 events, and I found through events that a lot the individuals that were able to share their past, their story, why people should stop and pay attention to who they are, they were able to fill rooms more, get speaking gigs, get higher paid clients, and it made such a big difference. And as an event producer, for me, I really take a look at what are people up to, what are they sharing, and it makes a huge difference. I've been able to get millions of dollars in free press using this similar system, and it all starts with your expert power bio. And the reason I say expert power bio is it's really putting that power into your story, because we've seen CVs, we've seen resumes, which are very necessary in specific industries and fields. But when it comes to the speaker or author or getting booked, that is something that I found that's key.
Very, very cool. I saw Gabriel's over there sharing his lunch. I love it that he's joining us. So tell us a little bit about the power bio process. Like, I know why we need it, but how does it all work? When you sit down with clients, how do you go about developing that?
Well, I'm actually going to give it away for free today. Thank you so much for allowing me to do that. So I found out that I've put together a 12-step, well, actually a 13-step questionnaire. And the questionnaire, it's a three-part process, and basically it is a mind dump or a data dump. It includes things like, what are your credentials? What's something you've been the first at, or share some numbers. It could be numbers of revenue increase or clients or speaking gigs. Also, why should people stop and pay attention when it comes to you? Where have you overcome adversity? So it really starts with these questions so that you can look at your past and what you've accomplished and get it down on paper. And I shared 13. I know I told you, I said, look, there's 12, but I've added a 13th one, because what I discovered is that a lot of individuals have had past clients, and those past clients are significant. I had one individual that I worked with, and she was getting ready to double her fees. And so we were looking at strategies to really, she wasn't feeling confident to be able to support that, and started with her bio. And what we discovered is that in the job she worked before, Delta Airlines was one of her clients. So, and she had 100% permission to put, one of her clients was Delta. So imagine the difference that did in her attraction for clients and looking at those higher pays. And I think she also had Bank of America, but it was really significant looking at those past clients and existing clients. So it just first starts with just doing that data dump. And Juliet, what I found is a couple of things. First off, most people don't like to talk about themselves. It's like one of the most It feels like brag, boasting. Everybody has different things that come up around it. So with this process, ideally, I just share with people, spend 10 minutes a day over a week or two's time period. Just see what comes up and write anything and everything down, even if it doesn't make sense or it doesn't have something to do with what you're doing right now. That over the years I've discovered that our past is not, it's just as important. And many times our past can connect and tell a significant story of where we are right now. And also, and I've had so many wonderful human interest stories that come out of it. We have a woman here that owned a health food store, and she was a professional women's arm wrestler. And she was like, what is a professional women's arm wrestler have to do with this? But we were able to talk about how she has the strength to keep going with the, in an industry that gets, that's not mainstream. So really everything that we've done, there's usually a way to craft it and make it stand out. So that's the first part, is just getting that mind dump or data dump down.
Can I tell, I'm going to interject here for a minute, how true what she just said is. When I first started my business, I did not share a lot of my background. I shared that I had worked in traditional publishing. I shared that I worked in advertising. And then one of my coaches, when we were redoing a bio, said, advertising, where'd you work? And I told him where I worked. And he's like, that's the creme de la creme of the ad agency world. And I was like, yeah, well, what'd you work on? And then I mentioned it, and they're like, no way. Why have you gone 4 years without saying that you worked on 2 accounts that had over $1 billion ad budgets? That was really important. And I have to admit, like, I was shy about saying it because I don't know why, actually. I felt like it was braggy, but it was important, and people started to really take notice after that. So what you're saying is absolutely true.
Yes, and the other thing is you hit it of feeling comfortable, but a lot of times people think our past, like you may be doing something a little different, and I know what you do for authors. Like, it's just remarkable, Juliet, what you're doing for authors. So you may say, well, I didn't do that for an author. You might focus on the differences, but just having those accounts. And I love what you said about numbers, like the $1 billion budget, if I understood that correctly.
Yeah.
Like, numbers are so significant to get people to pay attention also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely indications we weren't playing with small companies. We were playing with big. So what is point 2?
Yes. So part 2, once you've done that complete data dump, getting everything down, even if you're like, this doesn't make sense, then we go through and we start highlighting what is significant, what does stand out. Are there numbers we can start adding to this to where it will track that attention that numbers do? Are there key, is there a story we can start crafting? So basically we'll go through and just highlight with a marker or highlight, in a Word doc, and find those key points. So step 2 is, you already have the list down, and I've received out of those 13 questions up to 21 pages before. So it's not, if somebody turns it in and there's only 1 or 2 pages, then I'm like, it's not enough. we need more. And then from there, part 3 is that we start pulling it into paragraphs. And the first step, Juliet, with this is creating that longer bio. I always create the long one, because that is something that you can put on your website. Here, Gabriel, can you go over there? Yes. Sorry, Juliet. The longer bio, it's really easy to pull from. So we always create that long one first, and it's usually about 5 different paragraphs. So for example, if you look at my bio, I will have one about events specifically, saying that Dr. Gary Knoll, I produced events for him, and T. Harv Eker, and so it's a paragraph that talks about events. Then I have another paragraph that talks about publicity. So you start putting them in, that story that makes sense, and that's part 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, it's just 1, 2, 3. Then you have that usually 4 to 5 page or paragraph power bio.
That is so cool. So let's talk about, for these guys, where they can use them. Website, yes?
Website, proposals. I tell everybody, that was the biggest difference in my business in getting more yeses and higher fees by submitting that with my proposals. Radio opportunities, you can use them on your speaker sheet. Obviously, with your book, you want to have that in your book. You can put it on your Facebook page. This is where you'll pull out. You'll make it a little bit smaller for what you need. Use introductions when you're going to be speaking or going to be on the radio.
I have to interject one. Author Central. You always should have your Author Central completely built out. Bio, video, images, events, blog or vlog. So absolutely there too.
Yes. And I find that wherever I can share it, even before conversations, Juliet, because I'll tell the person, look, I'd love to get to know you before we meet. Here's my bio and please send me yours. So that way I'm not spending time talking about my past. I let the bio do that for me. So even before key conversations, I'll share that also.
That's very cool. There was an app for a while that you could actually look up people and get like their whole social profile. But I don't know what happened to it, but I used it for a while before appointments. But yes, this would have been very handy. I just want to mention LinkedIn. LinkedIn's a great place for this because you really have to highlight. So fantastic. So where do you see the book, like the whole book thing going? I know you work with a lot of authors. Why do you encourage them to write books?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, you didn't tell me you were going to ask me that, right?
No. I am so right. For me personally, like I was a part of collaborative books, which were great. I was able to leverage that to get speaking gigs and events and wonderful things. But when I published my own book, that's when everything turned around for me and my business. I was able to use that book to really stand out. I was certain that I got that book in the hands of people that I wanted to do business with and that I thought was an ideal match. So it helped with the conversion. And when you craft your book in a way that shares who you are and what you're doing and why people want to work with you, if there's actually a strategy to it, it becomes a client magnet.
Yeah, it truly does. That's what's so wonderful about the journey that we're embarking on with everybody in my community is we are bringing them along all the way so that they can see all that. And the power bio is something that you should be sitting down and crafting like in the first month. Especially if you want to be making money along the way, which I haven't shared this with you, Shannon, but we put a poll in the group, and that was one of the things that people really wanted to know is how do I make money with my book before it's written? And the power bio is a huge element of that because it gets your foot in the door to places where you can share and build.
Yeah, you can actually use it to get event, radio, TV, and then pre-sell the books. I mean, I know for me, I would say my book's coming out in the spring, and I really acted as if it was already published. I got to share one story.
Go for it. I love it.
It was really fascinating. One of my mentors shared with me a way to sell a lot of books at an event, and there was 365 people there, and my girlfriend did not have her book written yet. And so I shared with her the strategy. I'm like, look, it doesn't matter that you don't have your book written yet. Just take the pre-orders, offer a bonus item, which I also do with my book. It's like, send me your receipt. I ended up selling 65% of the room. She ended up selling almost 70% of the room, and she had not even written a book.
Oh my gosh. Well, she pretty much just funded her whole publishing experience there, didn't she? That's an amazing idea. Amazing, amazing idea. And you know what Shannon's talking about too is something you can do in pre-sale when you start pre-selling the Kindle before the launch date. Have them bring that receipt back to you and promise them a PDF copy or a PDF copy and a bonus. So it's a great way to get people to go buy your book in pre-sale too and really sell a lot.
Yeah, I did an interview with Jay Abraham's ghostwriter, and you probably heard of Jay Abraham. He's like a marketing guru that gets 6 figures a day to go into companies. So I use that 45-minute training where she talks about copywriting secrets as a bonus. So yes, bonuses are really incredible.
Yeah. And just to mention, they don't have to be your bonuses either. That was a great point there. You know, if you have collaborative partners, you know, sometimes they're willing to throw some bonuses in as well, just to kind of sweeten the pot. So for someone in publishing, it might be, I throw in Shannon's power bio. I throw in somebody's copywriting secrets. I throw in someone else's, you know, book writing secrets. So it just keep that in mind. It doesn't have to be all you.
Exactly.
Yeah, great. So you have a free gift for us today, do you not?
Yes, I do. Yes. So I'm going to give the 12-step Power Bio process away for free. Comes with a little, you know, just a small workbook, but it shares about the process that I explained today. It has all 12 questions, and I suggest just taking a piece of paper with each question at the top and reviewing it at least 10 to 15 minutes a day and just seeing what comes up. Maybe you carry it in a notepad as you go around. But if you go to Shannon, SHANNON, Gronich, GRONICH.com/Power Bio. So shannongronich.com/Power Bio. You will get the PDF of that workbook.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you for sharing this with them. And I believe that Shannon is in our platform building group. So if you're a part of it and you have questions, I've just reach out to Shannon, tag her, and I'm sure she'd be glad to answer those for you and possibly even schedule a call to see how she can help you some more with some of the things you're doing. Shannon, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time out, and I can't wait to talk to you about events and books. We're gonna record that a little later in the week, and I think it'll be a huge help to you guys as well. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Juliet, for all that you do for authors. They need somebody like you to really help them take it to the next level. So thank you for letting me share.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you.